Hello everyone, I'm glad to be here with you and welcome to the International Academy of Consciousness webinar. My name is Ana Laura Trivelato. Today we are going to talk about spiritual evolution via psychic sensitivity. So it will be an interesting webinar. Here you have the topics I will cover with you. First of all, a presentation of the IEC and our work, some definitions so we can start from there, and a little bit about subtle energies or chakras and about out-of-body experiences, plus other types of psychic abilities. Also, we are going to talk about why and how it can further our evolution. Then we are going to put it all together and see how we can make it practical in our day-to-day lives, because that's what matters in the end. So I'm very glad that we are all together. Let's crack on. So, a little bit of IEC's presentation. First of all, we are an education and research organization. Our educational activities, we put a lot of emphasis into techniques. So experimentation, how we can show people how things work, how can they try to apply techniques to improve, and most of all, how people can have more critical thinking, the ability to analyze any kind of non-ordinary phenomenon. You can name it, there are so many. And generally they are very obscure for a lot of people. Anyways, another area of research for us, it's the research in a very unbiased way. So what we aim here is to study the consciousness, which is obviously non-ordinary phenomena, but a lot more than that, to understand who we are and what we are doing here. What is this that we call consciousness, and what are the abilities that we have that goes beyond the physical abilities. A little bit more about IEC, just quickly here. We have, besides our educational activities, we organize scientific events and debates in the area, and it has been very interesting, some of them that we have done, where we have people from the academic area actually coming with their understandings and their views about the consciousness and their ways of studying that. So very interesting, and very interesting to see that from experience we can reach very converging conclusions when compared with the academic work that has been done so far. So that's very interesting because it shows there's some veracity on what we experience, and that's one of the reasons why we put a lot of emphasis into experimentation. We even have a campus where we aim to have more and more research about the consciousness. We have some what we call here laboratories. These are semi-spherical buildings where we have certain techniques that are proper for us to use in each one of these laboratories. We have at the moment like 4 or 5 laboratories. We experience, or we propose techniques to apply there that are related to bioenergies, improving your conditions to fuel your energies and improve your capacities to leave the body, having different types of out-of-body experiences, but also we use some new technology. That's what we have been using there, like a virtual reality. We have our vibroacoustic table that helps people to move the energies inside of them, which means that you become able to control your energies at will, and that makes a huge difference on what you can do with your energies. Now, going with the definitions, let's talk about them quickly. Definitions of sensitivity. So the sensitivity is the ability of an organism to react to a stimuli. That's very interesting. So purely sensitivity would mean degree or the capacity that we have that is to react to any stimuli, an external stimuli. The origin obviously is the word sensitive, which is in basic terms the perception through the senses, the first of all, when we think about senses, we think about the physical senses, the five senses, but actually, it seems that we have a limited number of senses. We don't even can perhaps put a number to that, because we can have perceptions that goes beyond the five senses. Some people say it's unlimited. Anyways, psychic. What does the word psychic mean? A phenomena. This is what we see in the dictionary. Phenomena apparently inexplicable by natural laws. So I added a question here for all of us to think about. Is it apparently inexplicable? Is there any way, a different way to understand and maybe explain? Perhaps we are trying to explain that according to the knowledge that we have nowadays, and perhaps we need to be more famed to exist. An interesting phrase from Heraclitus, it's a Greek philosopher, and he says, change is the only constant. There is nothing permanent except change. That's pretty much what we are talking about when we think about evolution. It implies change, it implies movement, and it implies a progress, growth, getting better. So now when we think about psychic sensitivity, you see that the paradigm or the perspective we take matters a lot. If you take a very physical, materialistic point of view, it will be very hard for you to explain that in the same way we will aim to do now. But if you take a perspective that is non-physical or non-materialistic, non-reductionist, it's going to be a lot different what you can get. So going to the next level here, we are going to talk a little bit about subtle energies, or we can call it para energy that goes beyond the physical energies like electricity or nuclear energy or thermal energy and so on. It can also be called bioenergy, meaning energy of life. So a little bit about that. We all have a physical body, and the energy interface, it's an interface between our non-physical body that is pre-existing with this physical body. So it's an interface, it's a bridge in between both of them. Each time we're reborn in a physical life, we study these major chakras. Some people say 7 chakras or 10 chakras or 9 chakras. It depends on each area of study. You see a different number. Reality is that we don't know exactly how many of them we have. Some say that we have millions of chakras. We study the major ones, but there are the minor ones. So perhaps each area or each cell or each pore in our skin could be considered a chakra. So this is what makes the connection between our physical body when we were born and the non-physical body. Now, when we have an out-of-body experience, the energy interface is actually what creates the condition for us to detach and return without getting lost or anything, or dying or something that sometimes people can be actually very afraid of. So we were talking about the aura, which is what psychic people would say they have clairvoyance and they see auras around people. We can, and we have techniques to feel and improve the capacity that we have to control the energies at will. And this makes a huge difference. Number one, because as I was saying to you previously, we can avoid being drained by other people, but most of all, you can avoid draining other ones as well. You can avoid manipulating people or being manipulated by other people. You can help people. You can donate energies. You can improve an environment energetically, let's say, making an atmosphere that is more positive for everyone. So certainly there are many usages for the energy interface once you know a good technique to use it. So certain techniques make the energy interface more healthy. with the energies not blocked in any chakras, not stagnant in anywhere. And what happens is that when we start moving the energies, and we have simple techniques that we call a VILU, the voluntary energetic longitudinal oscillation of energies. It's a big word, but it's a very simple thing. When you move the energies inside of you, you actually release the energies in your chakras, and you make the energy movement more free, more in equilibrium inside of you, and you can reach what we call vibrational state. That's the maximum activation of all your chakras. In this case, you actually have a very pleasant sensation, even when you are not in vibrational state. But while you are moving the energies inside of you, you already have all the benefits of that, like not training other people about out-of-body experience. So here it is. For the ones who are just reaching us now and entering now, we have covered these topics before, and we are going to keep talking about spiritual evolution via psychic sensitivity. Welcome, everyone. So let's talk a little bit about out-of-body experience. So out-of-body experience is a synonym of astral projection, astral travel, mystic voyage, astral projection. I said that already. So this seems to be a natural capacity of all of us. We all seem to disconnect every night, and we sometimes are not aware that we are doing that. So we do not have a lucidity while we are outside, which is very makes it very difficult for us to make sure what we have done when we are not aware that we are there at that moment. So a lot of times people actually confuse the out-of-body experiences with dreams. They say it's a very vivid dream, a very realistic one. You felt like you had a lot of connections through the energies, because the non-physical body is very close. And as the non-physical body gets further away from the physical one, the connections, the energetic connections kind of agglutinate to form what we call here a silver cord. While the person is outside of the body, the person is using the non-physical body that is made of energies, and how can I say, enjoying. Tell you why and how all of these can further our evolution. Why, when people have psychic sensitivity, people have, say, examples, people may have remote viewing. Have you heard of remote viewing? When we can see something that is further away. People have clairvoyance. You can see energies around you. For example, you can see auras. You can have telepathy. You can have all of these psychic abilities. Why would that further our evolution? Why I cite here, I mentioned out-of-body experience bioenergies. In which sense would this help us all to evolve, to improve? Here you have some ideas that are quite interesting. Some things that we just observe by perceiving our energy body detaching and seeing the non-physical dimension, or exploring the non-physical reality. So, number one, we see that is life and afterlife. What happens to us when we pass away? We actually do not cease existing. It seems that the consciousness, the soul, the spirit, call it whatever you want, we don't cease existing because of our biological death. What we have seen here in previous slides here, what happens is that the physical body will pass away, but the non-physical will remain in the very same dimension that we go when we are outside, when we have an astral projection. So actually, an astral projection is an excellent way for us to know and taste somehow what it is to have the transition from the physical death, the biological death. And actually, we break the fears that we have into that. And we actually see this is something very natural. It's just a transition phase, as I said. So the last part here in my chat with you today is about how can we put it all together and make it practical? How can we use the abilities that we already have that are called psych abilities to live a better life, to use these in our day-to-day lives? So let us see. We have courses in which we can teach that. We call our signature course CDP Consciousness Development Program. We have, as you can see here, two ways of teaching that: mixed methods and a streaming method. As we are all in isolation, social isolation, we are at the moment not having any in-person training. However, we are doing everything online and it's working brilliantly. We have pre-recorded classes with guided practices